using does in interrogative sentences. Using does in interrogative sentences. The first question to ask will be, what are interrogative sentences? Interrogative sentences are sentences that ask direct questions. They ask direct questions. For example, what is your name? What do you want? Are you here? Were you there? Does she like God? Do you love God? These are examples of interrogative sentences in the English language. But in this class, our focus will be on how to use this pro form of the verb, this auxiliary verb does, to ask questions. How do you use does appropriately to ask grammatically correct questions in the English language? So firstly, what is this does about? What is does? Does is a singular verb. Does is a singular verb. Is a singular verb. Singular auxiliary verb or singular pro form of the verb. Another name for this auxiliary verb is the pro form of the verb. Pro form. Do. Okay. Does is a singular verb. Does is a singular verb. That means you use does for or with he, pronouns such as he, singular pronoun, singular noun, singular subject, in other words. He, she, my friend, my cousin, my dad, the cat. Okay, get to see. You use does with singular items, singular nouns, singular pronouns, singular subjects in general. One thing, you only use does, like my mom does work. My mom does fight for what belongs to her. My father does this. My friend does this. Does she do this? Okay, so we use does with a singular item. Okay, in the present tense. And of course, this usually talks about habitual actions or habitual situations for a single individual. She does her work correctly. She does speak correctly. She does, he does, it does, the bed, the car does. One item. You can use does for a plural item or for plural items. Now, when you use does to ask questions, there is a principle, there is an order to follow. And here is how the order works. When you have a singular, you have does. Of course, when you use does for interrogative or for interrogation, does comes first. Does comes first, which means you need to mention this first. For example, you say does plus the singular subject, right? Plus a plural verb. Plus a plural verb. This is how the formula works. Does plus subject, the singular subject, then plus a plural verb. This is how the structure works when you're using does to ask interrogative or to make interrogative sentences. Anytime you want to use does to ask questions in the English language, of course, you use it to ask questions about one person, about a single individual. So when you use does, the formula is use does with a singular subject, a singular noun, a singular pronoun. Then after the subject, you mention a plural verb. Okay, so let's have examples of interrogative sentences with does fronting the expression. One, does she have? Does she have a braid? Does she have a braid? Does she have a braid? This expression is correct. Why? This is a plural verb. Normally, you aren't expected to use she with have. She have a car. She have a braid. She have a working system. She have. You can't speak that word in the English language. Why? The reason is have is a plural verb. But when you switch the role and you're talking about interrogative, you're talking about questions. When you mention does, right, you can always combine a plural verb with a singular subject in questions, in interrogative. You can say, my friend have a car. My friend have a car. It's wrong to speak that way. All of those are sentences, statements. She have gone. It's wrong. That expression is wrong. But when you want to ask questions, you want to make interrogatives in the English language, you use after this pro form of the verb, after this does, right? You mention the singular subject. The next verb should be a plural verb. So another example is 2. Does a father travel? Does a father travel at all? Travel at all? Okay, look at this. This is a plural verb, not a singular verb. So why is this a plural verb? The reason is we've fronted a singular verb here, the proform, the singular form here, to start the question. So when you start a question with does, the next subject has to be a singular subject, and after that, you have a plural subject, a plural verb. Number 3, so this expression is also right. If I have something like does does it has a tail? Does it has a tail? This expression is wrong. Why? It's because of the presence of this has. Normally, we just has with or for a singular subject, one item, one individual, one thing. But when you ask a question with does, or you begin any question with a proform of the verb, the next verb after this subject has to be a plural verb. So that's why this expression is wrong. The right form of this expression should be number 4, she. No, sorry. Number 4, does it have a tail? This is the right expression. Correct. Okay. Does it have a tail? So bottom line is when you ask questions, you have interrogatives with does, the next item has to be a singular subject. Then after the singular subject, you have a plural verb. That is a structure to follow when you make interrogatives with these verbs. This video is particularly addressing new learners of your English language who find it difficult to use does in making interrogatives. Does, of course, does is a singular verb that you use with a singular item, a singular subject, a singular noun, a singular pronoun. But when you ask questions with does, after does you have a singular item, then after the singular item you have a plural verb. Does she go to school? Does she go to school? Not does she goes to school. Does she has a pen? That expression is wrong. It should be does she have? Does she sleep? Does she swim? Does she pray? Not does she press? Not does she praise? Not does she sings? Does she sing? That is that about this class. See you next time. But remember to keep speaking right and keep learning right.